Hey, if you're new to this channel, please like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Today we're going to be doing a listener write-in from Shazah, and I will read what she wrote in. Dear Tess, first of all, thank you so much for making YouTube videos about maladaptive daydreaming. It's really helpful. I maladaptively daydream about a person in my boarding school who's an adult, while I am a teenager. I got accepted to this prestigious boarding school abroad with a scholarship, all because I worked very hard for it. But just before I was about to travel to the school abroad, something really bad happened to me. I ended up failing in my final exams in my home country. This happened because I was going through a big trauma related to sexual trauma. I got my final results just 1 week before I was about to fly. The results didn't impact my scholarship at all, but they impacted my self-esteem a lot, and I became mentally and physically ill. In my time in the boarding school, one person really supported me and was kind to me. He was also very handsome. And so I subconsciously started maladaptively daydreaming about this person. I daydream about how this person perceives me, like scenarios where I am talking in a very confident way. We're doing some great work socially, and they're getting impressed by me. Now I find myself slipping in such daydreams from the time I wake up to the time I sleep. It's very tiring and frustrating. I feel ashamed of daydreaming like this. I've been a maladaptive daydreamer ever since I was young. It started as an escape mechanism in my childhood from bad family situations of abuse and neglect. As a child, I consciously used to daydream by making movies in my mind. Most of them were romantic, and that was how I used to entertain myself, because there was no other way. The person in my daydreams keeps changing depending where I am and who I am in contact with. My triggers are movies, songs, and loneliness. I need to learn how to stop maladaptively daydreaming so that I can stop myself from failing in academics, and I want to do better academically so that I can achieve my dreams and feel confident again. Please help. Hi Shazah, thank you so much for writing in. You're welcome for the YouTube videos. Congratulations on the boarding school and the scholarship. I know you have a moment where you talk about failures after it, but it sounds like you successfully got into that school and maintained your place there, and I want to give praise where praise is due. That's amazing, and congratulations. And in the same breath, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry you have suffered abuse and sexual trauma, and it's awful. You should have never experienced any of that, but you did, and now you have to deal with it, and you're very young. So I think maybe one thing that I hope you can do for yourself is to offer yourself a lot of self-compassion, because you're going through some really difficult things. Sometimes our brains can't catch up with our bodies, so sometimes it's nice to give yourself some self-compassion in a physical way. And I've mentioned it probably on like half my channel videos, but I'm a huge fan of Dr. Theo Levine's self-containing hug. And I like taking some deep breaths when I do it. I was stressed out a couple weeks ago in public, and I just did this, and I was like, oh, I'm starting to feel better. So I invite you or anyone watching to do this hug. You just take one hand, put it under one armpit, other hand around the other armpit, and you'll hear my voice start to chill out too, because it's soothing. So I think if you're struggling to give yourself mental or emotional self-compassion, there are ways of getting around that, and I think one of the ways is through physical care. So by giving yourself this little hug or this little container and just allowing yourself to take some deep breaths in your belly, you can exhale the breaths through your mouth, and that can be relaxing for your jaw as well. That kind of, I feel a lot better. So that's one thing I recommend to basically everyone. if you can, if you have access to, see a mental health professional, especially one who's trauma trained, because that's what you've endured. I don't know about the accessibility or affordability in your country, but if you can do that, that would be kind of the first recommendation. The other thing, as I kind of alluded to with the self-compassion physically, basically all the trauma books say to do yoga, do meditation, be very mindful of diet, don't eat things that are too high in sugar content, eat a variety of vegetables, drink lots of water, don't over-caffeinate, get enough sleep. When you're dealing with trauma, you really need, or you really benefit from, a solid foundation. And unfortunately, from your letter, you're lacking in a bit of that foundation, right? The ideal is that all humans are born and they all get a nice little soft foundation, strong, soft foundation where they're loved and all their needs are taken care of and they're safe and they're protected. Unfortunately, that isn't always the case for so many humans on this planet. And you've expressed that in your upbringing, you were not giving that safe foundation. You listed abuse, you listed sexual trauma, and those are going to have repercussions. And you're going to feel those. And maladaptive daydreaming is a component of it, but it seems like the trauma is also a trigger for that. So I know your letter is mostly about how to quit the maladaptive daydreaming so you can focus on school, but I do appreciate that you were so vulnerable and gave this other information, because that's really vital, I would say, to treating I say this in the first maladaptive daydreaming video, one of the ways to get through maladaptive daydreaming is to treat the underlying trauma. So there are so many really, really good trauma books. I personally love Dr. Peter Levine. I actually haven't read his books in full, but he has a myriad of books. The Body Keeps the Score by Dr. Bessel van der Kolk is super popular and breaks down different elements of recovery in different chapters. I also really like The Transformation by Dr. James S. Gordon. That one has not seemed to have gotten as much attention as some of the other trauma books, but that one goes into the trauma diet, it goes into yoga, of course, and all the other elements, but I think the chapters can be very instructive, so I really like that one. One of the things you mention in your letter, you talk about this adult who's handsome, who's been a positive influence for you, and who's been really supportive. And I think it makes total sense why your mind, in lieu of kind and supportive adults, would cling to this idea and this imaginary kind of projection of this man who has been so kind to you. I think one of the things that a lot of people who maladaptively daydream and who come from chaotic or unsupportive home environments share is that there's a lot of maladaptive daydreaming about romantic others. I suspect that's because a lot of the times we don't get like varieties of support or community. So family is kind of like the base level, and ideally you want that base level to have that strong foundation and all that stuff. But when you don't have that, you kind of go toward what comes after family. And I think societally, what comes after family is kind of the steps that a lot of people take. They grow up with their families and then they get married and start their own families. So I think that people look toward romantic relationships sometimes to save them from their home traumas as a kind of replacement family. So from my perspective, it makes total sense why you would feel romantic feelings toward this person, even though it's an inappropriate relationship. And I think you recognize that and understand that it's not going to happen because this person has been a supportive and safe adult. And the ideal is that they maintain that role for you. So what do you do with it? What do you do with those kind of daydreams, though, when they are insistent and are coming up? I think one thing is to recognize that maladaptive daydreaming, like any maladaptive mechanism, is coming in to serve you in some way. It's clear that it's coming in to serve you, to offer you emotional support when this person isn't around. Because when this person isn't around, you go back to your old life, essentially. You go back into your head of your old life, or you go back physically to your old life, and maybe one of the only places you feel safe and one of the only people you feel safe with is him. And so in a way I suspect you're trying to carry that safety with you through the idea of him. And that makes total sense to me. That makes a ton of sense. He's kind of the embodiment of that love and that safety and support that you're not getting from many other areas of your life. One of the things that I encourage people to do when they do maladaptive daydream is to answer the kind of absences of your life, to fill in with reality what the maladaptive daydreaming is doing with these daydreams. In this case, I suspect you just need more love and support and safety in your life, and maybe that's finding one person at a time who you can learn to trust. I think therapists, mental health professionals can be amazing for that. I've had very nourishing, supportive and healing relationships with really good therapists who have helped me through really, really tough times. And I encourage that to everyone. Not every therapist is going to be the perfect fit, but even the ones you might not fully resonate with can still be beneficial, and I think it's worth trying. Again, I don't know your accessibility in your country and finances and everything there. So that would be one thing. The other thing is finding more friends. I don't necessarily encourage, jumping into a romantic relationship as kind of like a savior or whatever, but to build that strength through supportive relationships outside your family. I don't know if for you all of your family is kind of a danger level, or if maybe there's an aunt who is a safe person for you, or a cousin who's a safe person for you, or a neighbor who's a safe person for you. I would encourage you to go toward women, since you do have that history of sexual trauma. I just wouldn't want anything to be repeated, and I think when you're in vulnerable places, sometimes that can happen. So the important thing is to get strong in your body, in your emotional space, in your physical space, and finding women to look toward, I think, can be really beneficial. And to look for maybe like strong women who can show you how to be safe in the world, as kind of a representation of safety, so that instead of taking these imagined tokens in your head with these daydreams, that instead of this kind man at school being the embodiment of safety for you, you start to embody your own safety that you can carry inside yourself. And so you can feel more assured in the world. One of the things one of my former therapists recommended was for me to get really strong in my body. He thought that would be a beneficial way for me to feel stronger and safer in the world. I don't think I ever got as strong as he really wanted me to get physically, but he was right. Anytime I really exercised and had stronger abs and had stronger muscles, I did feel more assured in my body. And there's an anxiety book. I think it's First We Make the Beast Beautiful by Sarah Wilson. I might be butchering the title a little bit. But in her book, there have actually been studies that she references where people who have strong abs are actually less anxious. So, hearkening back to what that former therapist told me, I share with you too. I think getting strong in your body in whatever ways that works for you. Maybe it's through yoga, maybe it's through push-ups, or one of my favorites is just plank. It doesn't take that long, and it activates your core and other muscles, your arms and legs. Taking walks, finding a friend to take walks with, maybe finding a sport that is fun and interesting and makes you feel powerful. I guess that's a large, that's one of the things I would say too. Find the places where you have your power. For me, one of the places that's always felt powerful to me is my writing. It's not always good, but there have been moments that have been deeply disturbing for me, and yet when I've been able to make a poem out of those moments, or a story, or some other written transformation of pain, I felt like, oh, I've taken something so ugly and hurtful and I made it to something beautiful that sometimes not only resonates with me, but also resonates with other humans. And it's like reconnecting yourself to yourself and to the world and your greater power, because we all have those creative powers within us. So I don't know if you're a writer, or I don't know if you're an illustrator or do some other kind of arts, or like a great volleyballer, tennis player. It's not really tennis player. Or you're really into fashion or anything. Really, where are the places where you just blossom, where you just exude that life and that energy? And maybe you haven't discovered all those places, and maybe this time can also be a moment to learn more about yourself. Where do you blossom? Where do you thrive? I know you've talked about how hard you've worked in your studies, and that's really wonderful. What other areas can you develop some beauty, some life, and some energy? You also mentioned your triggers. Your triggers are movies, songs, and loneliness. You mentioned that you want to do better academically so that you can achieve your dreams and feel confident, but I don't think you actually say what your dreams are explicitly. And confident. I think confidence can be fed by the physical strength we've talked about. So really empowering your body physically will tell your brain you're confident, you're strong, and you can handle anything. And again, this harkens to finding some female mentors or female individuals you can look toward who can exude kind of the person you want to be in the world, who really is someone you can look to and be like, oh, that is how they navigate the world. I can apply those lessons. And I think whether or not you are able to get a therapist or someone who can be a source of guidance for you is really, really important. Some of the people who suffer childhood trauma and recover the best are those who had adults in their lives who were more stable more stable presence. It's a little bit of a survival mechanism to find those figures, and it sounds like wonderfully you did find someone like this at school, and he was positive for you and he was appropriate, and that's wonderful. That's such a gift. I'm so happy you found that man to be a support system for you. And I hope you continue to look and find more of those safe support systems. Movies, music, and loneliness are triggers. So that also harkens to find more people. Populate your life with people who are good and supportive, and take time to get to know them. You don't know if someone's trustworthy immediately. Trust is an cumulative thing, but take your time and figure it out and grow friendships and be supportive in your friendships and ideally get that support back. As far as triggers, sometimes I do recommend people take a break from listening to music or watching movies for a full month and seeing how that is. And I think it kind of is a good exercise when you're looking for other areas of your life that you can add more life to. So maybe take a month off from watching any movies unless you're with other people, and listening to music again unless you're with other people. And in the times that you normally watch movies or do listen to music, do something else. Draw. Go out and meet people. Go visit an aunt or a cousin. Do some yoga, do some meditation, do some breath work. I have some trauma release exercises on my channel that you can do as well. Really just build that sense of safety in yourself, in your emotional space, in your mental space, in your physical space. And please be kind to yourself. Sometimes the hardest thing is giving ourselves self-compassion. And I want to emphasize that, again, none of the things that happened to you were your fault. I'm so sorry they happened to you. And none of those things are the end of your life. You have a lot of life to live, and it's gonna be beautiful. And the more you put toward the beauty of your life, the more it will blossom. It will be lovely. So find the areas of support and really take care of your body and your heart, and you'll get there. And I think also with maladaptive daydreaming, don't get perfectionistic about it. I daydream. It's fine. I like daydreaming. Do I do it excessively the way I used to? Not typically. Does it sometimes come up more when I'm stressed out? Yeah. But a lot of things come out more when I'm stressed out. I might be more inclined to go on my phone when I'm stressed out and kind of zone out, or watch a movie or something. We all have our kind of coping mechanisms. We're not going to be perfect about those. Someone who indulges in sweets isn't going to ban themselves from eating cake the rest of their life, most likely. It's all about that moderation with daydreaming or with anything. And if you can give yourself some grace when daydreaming comes up, I think it will make it a lot less painful for you. As I've said in other videos, there's nothing wrong with daydreaming. It's just finding that balance where it's not excessive, where it's not addictive, or it's not hurting you. Thank you so much for writing in, Shazah, and I hope this video is helpful. It's not from the perspective of a mental health professional, because I'm not a mental health professional, but I hope maybe some of these creative solutions can lend toward a happier and healthier and more solid life. Please write back in 6 months and let us know how you're doing. For everyone else, please like, subscribe, hit that bell for notification. If you are able to and want to, please join the Patreon over there. There are tiers where you can get a journal exercise of the month, well-being tip of the month, book recommendation of the month, and then an early release video of the month. I really appreciate anyone who does have financial support that they can lend toward this channel, and you help make these videos what they are. Thank y'all. And if anyone has any tips for Shazah in the comments, please leave them below. I love this channel because it's a community and people share their stories a lot in the comments, and I know those comments help other people. Take care, y'all.